fucking people. They were all over the fucking school, and people who didn't need them in their learning plans or to focus at school were bringing them just to fuck around with them. And Torn had to have a learning plan.
Were like for people with attention things.
It's to help center and like focus your attention to certain things. I tried using it to try and help me with stuff, but I'm better with music, personally. It's just my thing. I also tend to like tap my fingers and, you know, I bounce my feet all the fucking time and it drives everyone nuts, but it's like, it helps me center myself.
That's something I never understood. Like, people would get like, they would tell you to like keep your feet down or something.
Yeah. Look, I just bounce my feet and my legs and stuff. It helps me, like, in a way, it helps me remember, hey, you're a living fucking being. Please breathe, type of thing. So, with Torin, I don't know what was on his learning plan, per se. It wasn't something I needed to know, because it wasn't mine, and he really didn't care if I knew, but I just didn't want to know out of respect. But, Caitlin also had a learning plan, and hers got violated a lot. Torrance got violated by the art teacher that we had, and that's what I was getting towards, but he was an asshole. He violated Torrance' learning plan, and a bunch of shit happened, but anyway. Art. So, mediums are different types of materials you can use for a project. So, paint. Watercolor paints, like, you have paint as one, like, base medium. You know, there's paint, there's graphite, there's digital, and all this other stuff.
Oh, okay.
And with different paint comes
that
different
makes
types
a lot
of
of
brushes.
sense, because if you think about sound, it needs a medium to travel through.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same thing. And I see art as something that's not subjugated to, like, you know, drawing or something like that. I see art as like a broad spectrum of making music and making clothing, producing movies or TV shows, film, actual like drawing, painting, things like that. Art to me is something as that you would use to express yourself and the world around you to an audience, or to yourself, for all, you know, if you want to express that to yourself, and that's a-okay too. I was in a sewing guild, and I made quilts and pillows and stuff like that, and I also really wanted to get into cosplay, but I never got the chance to. I did needlework, I paint, I draw, I was getting into, like, you know, those, like, flip note, like, animation things. I'm really into animation. I love animation. There's something about it that just, it's so enticing. And I can, if you put an animated film in front of me that is, like, on par, like, a really good example, and I like a bunch of different styles as well. So I really confuse people when they're also into art and they ask me what type of art I'm into, and I bounce from like one type to the next, and like, you know, a different style of like art, like clothing to painting to digital to animation to still, like, you know, claymation, things like that. I love claymation. I grew up a lot with claymation films. And one of the animated films that got me when I'm high, I am more detail-oriented than I am, well, sober. And I went over to Torrance, and I watched Frozen 2 for the first time with that sandwich video. That was the same day. And we watched Frozen 2, and Into the Unknown, that whole entire scene for Into the Unknown, it's beautiful. I love the music score for it. The instrumental is by far one of the best things. And the voice actors' singing potential and vocal range is really impressive. I also really like how the animation flows with the instrumental, but also the vocals to a degree. Because sometimes in animation, you'll have animation that flows with the music score, but it's either with the vocals or with the instrumental. And I think Into the Unknown did, like, presented that really well. But yeah, the actual animation for the movie I really enjoy. I like how they presented the different elements and everything. Um, Accurately depicting, Norse culture to a degree, pagan culture to a degree. Um, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. And then, like, I'll go and I'll watch a fucking French film, if animated French experimented. It's an experimental sci-fi animated French film, and it's by far one of my favorite movies, I think. It's from 1973, and it originally was a book that was written in the 50s or 60s, and it's A Fantastic Planet. And the animation is really unique, and I really enjoy it a lot. It's like paper cutouts, but more fluid. And I can't really pinpoint if it's done digitally or if it's drawn.
Oh! Oh my god. You scared the shit out of me.
What scared the shit out of you?
I mined down into a zombie with a golden helmet. Like, oh my god.
Well done. But, yeah, like, Fantastic Planet, I was watching it while stoned, right? And then we stopped watching it because my grandma had to go to bed. And then we finished it when I was not stoned. And something with me is that when I watch a movie and I'm stoned, or I watch a TV show and I'm stoned, I like to watch it again when I'm not under the influence because I actually get to see it differently and see if I actually enjoy it when I am sober rather than, being under the influence. Because, like, people will say while you're under the influence, you'll pretty much enjoy anything. Especially when it comes to weed. Especially when it comes down to eating food while you're high. But last night I had fucking jalapeno popper, fucking potato skin chips from TGI Fridays, and I made fucking chicken rice-a-roni and was using that as a fucking dipping sauce. Like... so...
Nah, you're real.
I know. But yeah, there's different art mediums, and sometimes when I'm stoned, I like to experiment, and heavily with art, especially, whether it be different styles or mediums, whether it be both. I'm really into, I really like smudging, like pencil and paint for some reason. I don't know if it's like the texture or what it is.
Hi to KJJ.
Hello, I am being really weird at the moment. What was I gonna say? Oh, but I also enjoy inking and things like that as well. A friend of mine actually gave me a calligraphy feather, a quill,
Yeah.
and it has ink in it and everything. And I haven't gotten around to using it. I probably should whip it out.
Whip it out.
Whip it out. But yeah, I had one of my teachers from middle school. Actually, the first teacher I had at ATI was my 8th grade teacher, Sophia Barber.
Not the full name.
She's amazing. I'm giving you her full name because she is amazing. I love her so much. Not only did she have some of the best fucking dresses, she had a weenie dog dress. And if I remember, she wore those on Wednesdays. The weenie dog dress on Wednesdays. Weenie Dogs Wednesday, yeah. And we connected a lot more than I thought we were originally going to, because when I was new to the school and I was really skeptical of teachers and everything because of my past experiences, because this was the first time I was ever at an alternative school that wasn't homeschool. And I really honestly thought they were just talking this shit up just to try and get me to go to the school, and that was it, because that's what all the other schools did. And I was talking to my teacher, and she was the most understanding and the most sympathetic person, and she actually would talk to me as like a one-on-one type of, not like like it was like a mentorship, not like rules as I'm the teacher, you're the student, you know, you fucking listen to me and I'm not going to listen to you type of thing. It was just like she was actually like talking to me from like an actual like human perspective, and I yeah, is that they don't like it when you refer to people as like a Mr. K or like, you know, Mrs. Smith or something like that. We all went by a first name basis, teachers included,
Yes,
and preferred name basis.
cause that shit is stupid.
I went by Nat. I have always preferred to go by Nat. It's more gender neutral for me, and I really enjoy it. I actually told my mom just the other day that at one point, and I still kind of am debating if I want to do this, I was thinking about legally changing my name to Nataloo. Because I love it, and it feels my own. And you can't really gender role that because it sounds alien, and I love it because that's how I see myself. And but yeah, I talked to my teacher a lot, and not only did she give me a book, because when we graduated 8th grade, we all had like a little celebration and everything. There was like a little barbecue and everything, but there was also presents, and she gave me a book. And I have yet to read that book, but it's about mental health, mainly depression, and how it's either a story about someone with it or about it and like teens and everything. But I've yet to read it, and I really want to. And then for my graduation, she sent me, and this is the art part of it, but she sent me Copic markers for my graduation present. And they're a very specific type of alcohol-based marker, and they're very pigmented, and they last a long time, and they're really fucking good, and they're really fucking expensive. And I was like, oh my god, this is a fucking amazing present. Holy shit, you know? Because, like, you had people like my dad just gave me cash or something like that, you know? And, like, I like things that mean a lot. I would rather have someone make me something than buy me something. But if you're gonna buy me something that, like, is something that can help me achieve a hobby of mine or a goal of mine, something like that, like the markers, that's huge to me. And I love it so much, you know? And I just appreciate that about her. She's really awesome, and we're friends on Facebook and everything, and, you know, we talk every now and then and stuff, and, like, I had a couple other... I am a Facebook mom, fuck! I think I had a Facebook before I had an Instagram. Or a Snapchat or anything.
When did you learn about Snapchat?
When I was in high school, middle school. It was from Torin, mainly. Hi, Lulu. Do not pull my laundry. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Meow.
I will smudgeon you to death with kisses.
Meow.
But, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what I was saying, but...
Mediums.
Mediums, yeah. Yeah.
You literally went from talking about a medium...
That's how my brain works. That's how my fucking brain works. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, so my brain works in really weird ways, right? Like I just said, like what you just said.
Oh, here we go.
We go from talking from one thing, and I go all the way across the fucking rainbow. I don't know if this is just me. My mom's like that too, like this too. But you will be talking about one thing, and then you'll like correlate that to like another thing that you wanted to say, and then you'll remember another thing that you wanted to say that correlates to the thing that you were already trying to correlate to the other thing, and then you just go on this huge rant, and then like someone will be like, the person you're talking to will be like, what does this have to do with anything? And so I just sit there, and I'm like, well, this correlates to this, while this connects to this, and this connects to
Oh
this.
my god, I'm not one of the ones who do that.
For real? Oh my god. I do that all the fucking time. And the thing is that I'll have full on conversations with myself in my head. And I will do that.
Oh, I
Like,
have
have I told...
scenarios. I have scenarios in my head. Like if
Oh
something
no.
bad happens, I have scenarios and they make me so much more mad. Like
I just go on huge rants and everything. Like, there's this one... We call this the infamous, Anne Boleyn rant. Give me 1 second. It's... So... I was really into a musical called Six, and here it is. I was really into a musical called Six in 2020, and I'm also really into historical fiction and stuff like that as well, because I'm a fucking nerd. And Six has to deal with the stories of Henry VIII's 6 wives. For context, 2 were beheaded. It was divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Okay, so 2 got divorced. 2 got divorced, 2 got beheaded, 1 died, his 3rd wife died in childbirth, and the other one outlived him. But it talks about the stories of his wives rather than actual Henry VIII himself, because he was the main focus point in history for a fat fucking minute, because they were focusing on why he killed them, like his reasoning behind it, rather than what the actual women went through in their lives. And I really enjoy it. And there's this song for Anne Boleyn, and that was Henry VIII's 2nd wife. And I came to the realization, after reading a couple articles and other people's theories and everything, that Anne Boleyn actually changed the world and put some things in motion, hypothetically speaking. And this could just be me overthinking it and just trying to, like, you know that meme of, like, that guy that has, like, the fucking board with, like, all the red strings and everything, and he's frantically like, look at this? You know the meme
no.
I'm talking about? Hold on, I'll find it. Literally. With... It's this dude. I'm gonna send it to you on Snap.
Are you one of the January 6 writers?
The what is that?
January 6.
I don't think so. Since I don't know what you're talking about, I'm gonna say no.
January 6, Nat. You remember January 6, 2021?
No.
They raided the Capitol? Nat,
Oh,
how do you not
yeah!
remember that?
I remember that! Yeah, no, I wasn't there.
Yes, you were. You were
Nah,
one
I
of the ones
wasn't.
raiding the Capitol.
Totally. If I was to raid the Capitol, I would
Oh, I
do
know
so in
this.
style. Yeah, that's me, okay? That is me connecting everything in my brain to one thought. But that is specifically me with Anne Boleyn, my infamous Anne Boleyn rant. And I don't know if you would like to hear it,
Yes.
but it is...
Start.
Okay,
Start.
it is 3
Let's go.
paragraphs. So, this is
3
a post that I made.
paragraphs.
It's 3 paragraphs. And so, I went on a rant in September of 2020, late September of 2020, and I said, this is on Facebook, by the way, you can look it up in my profile. I said, it's so weird to think that if Anne Boleyn hadn't married Henry VIII, history would be completely different. Like, for example, if Anne never married Henry, Elizabeth I would have never existed, which would have resulted in the Virginia Company most likely being delayed or never created. In parentheses, the Virginia Company was 2 jointed stock companies that were chartered under James I, who was Elizabeth's nephew. It focused on making settlements in the western part of the world, which later would become the British colonies, and later after that would become the United States. This would also have resulted in most, if not all, of South America being owned by Spain, with North America being owned by the French. And with no Americans to help revolt against the English, they wouldn't have sent ships. The French would not have sent ships to the colonies, which would have resulted in the delay and or the failure of the French Revolution due to the French monarchy having more resources. approximately 1.3 million lives went into the American Revolution for context. Context. So my theory with that
Quantex.
is that the French decided to help the Americans revolt against the English because the French have had beef with the English for fucking ever, right?
Uh-huh.
If the French had not sent reinforcements and supplies to help the Americans, and also the French-Indian War was happening right before the Revolutionary War, so that was also a
How
thing that
you
was
gonna have a
happening.
war with the people who were living there first? Bye.
No. It wasn't a war against the Native Americans. It's called the French and Indian War because the French and the Indians were on the same side fighting the
No,
English.
but like the people who came over here to colonize America were the ones
Yeah, I
fighting.
think that's also bullshit.
Like what?
But yeah, the French and Indian War was also really weird because the Indians and the French were like, you know what? Fuck the English. And so they went to war at that, and then the war fucking stopped, and then later the Revolutionary War starts. And so much money and resources and people and lives went into not only the French Indian War, but also the American Revolution. And I feel like the numbers really don't talk about that much. And so I was like, in perspective, 1.3 million lives went into the American Revolution, and that's excluding the ones that were put into the Indian and French War, the French and Indian War.
Mm-hmm.
Last paragraph. Another string of events that happened because of Anne and Henry's marriage was England breaking away from Rome. If England did not break away from Rome, they'd still be Catholic. The reason why Henry decided to break England away from the Roman Catholic Church was because of how he was getting married to Anne Boleyn. Henry was already married to one of the members of royalty from Spain. That was his first wife. And they were failing to have a child, and then Anne Boleyn comes in, she's from France, and her dad's like, hey, yo, talk to this guy because he's a hot shot, he's fucking king of fucking England. And she's like, you know what, fine. And so she is, and then they hit it off, and then they start fucking around with each other. And Henry's like, you know what, I want to have the both of you. And so he has Anne Boleyn in his fucking bed with his wife at the time.
Girl, what?
And so she's like, what the fuck is this? I don't want this bitch in our fucking bed. You're being a bastard. And so he wanted a divorce, but the church decided and was saying, no, you can't do that because that goes against our rules. So since Henry wanted a divorce so he could marry Anne Boleyn, he decided, fuck you, I'm making my own church. So that's what happened. That's why they left the Roman Catholic Church. And I think that's such a big fucking deal, especially on a religious context, because for the longest time, England was Catholic. They were Catholic when the Vikings were coming in. And so I just think about it from like a timestamp, like the time frame, and like how big that would have affected most of the population of England, because you're raised Catholic in a country for centuries, and then boom, some fat guy with a fucking boner all the time decides, I'm gonna say fuck you and make my own church in England. Like, what the fuck? Okay, cool.
So what? Wait, what religion goes with that church that was created in England then?
Christianity. It's still Christianity, it's just not the Catholic Church. It's fucking weird, I know. But so in religion, there's also, especially monotheism, there's three main religions.
So Christianity wouldn't existed without that church being built, right?
Well, not necessarily. Christianity
unless
still...
it was created by someone else.
Oh shit. Okay, I'll be on in a second.
Unless it was created by someone else, right?
So Christianity still would have been a thing. I think it honestly would have just been delayed.
Yeah, delayed. Yeah.
Because Catholicism is just a because there's three main trees for monotheistic religions. Catholicism is just technically a branch of Christianity, or swap that around if you want. But I think Catholicism is more of a branch of Christianity because Christianity is used more broad term for people who worship Jesus and God and everything, and just the same as Satanism being a branch of Christianity. It's because of the different deities they worship. Just because you're a Satanist doesn't mean you're not a Christian because you believe in Satan, and Satan is a Christian deity. So it still makes you a part of the Christian branch, but you're not Catholic, you're not Christian, you're a Satanist. And Aaron claimed himself to be a Satanist, but didn't understand that. That's another thing that I find really fucking weird, is that you claim to be one thing without even understanding what that thing is. Like, you see what I'm getting here?
Yeah.
But, like, the three main religions for monotheism is Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. But there's a bunch of other religions that are polytheistic and more are in line with mythology. Like, paganism is it's a broad term. Like, the ancient Greeks and Romans, they were a part of paganism. The Celtics were a part of paganism. For a brief time, England had a paganism, decent paganism population. It's the Native American deities, Native American people were polytheistic and part of paganism to a degree. Southern American culture, like Mayans and Aztecs, they also had multiple deities for certain things, and you can see this type of stuff in games like Smite and a bunch of other things. And I really like the fact that there's games and shows and everything that are coming out with that, because I feel like it's getting people into that type of stuff more and wanting to learn about it more. I just feel like the thing is with, turning that to the media and like putting it in the media, you also have to like do your research on it. And I feel like a lot of people get really lazy and don't do their proper research on stuff. But yes, I'm ranting about religion. I know, I'm just ranting about religion. I know. I'm gonna go eat. I will be back.
And
thank you for listening to my
Cards
rant.
Against Humanity?
Yeah, I'm gonna be gone for like 2 hours, I think.
That's not good.
Yeah, roughly 2 hours.
That's not good.
Well, my starts at 7 and ends at 8. I'm coming out. Okay, I'll have my phone on me.
The hell? Okay. That's the end of that. Poo. Poo. Well. Bye, stream. LOL.